Hello everybody, Andrew Casey at Hypersanity Books for Kids. Today I'm doing a shout out to Kevin with his book tag. I find with New Year's, this is an interesting book tag to do, and I haven't done a book tag in a while. Also, I'd like to do a shout out to Jim's book reviews, Jim's book reading and stuff. I do follow quite a few channels in YouTube, and I can't keep up with what everyone puts out. There's just not enough time. However, I found these couple videos were interesting to follow for the New Year's tag, and I do recommend looking at this tag to do, whether you're a writer or a reader. Otherwise, I'll just give some of my opinions forward in this video. Number 1. Fears. What are one of your fears with your New Year's goals for this year? The fear for this year would be reading more books with different authors that I haven't looked into too much, just so I can do some other videos between the 3 book channels. And there are also, I want to do better quality videos to upload. There's also ones that I'm looking for that I'll mention in today's video for the Hypersanity Books for Kids channel, where there are some authors I think haven't been reviewed too much, though have done some interesting works. So I am a little bit fearful, will I do the author justice with doing a review on their book or who they are as a person? Because there is some information out there and there is privacy to follow. So I do have a bit of a fear of being somewhat respectful with each video that I do upload. Number 2, patience. What's a book that you need to pick up now and start reading? I do feel the Dogman books, I do know it is for children, and yes, this is Hypersanity Books for Kids. Though with the upcoming movie, I do think there is some sort of reason to pick up and read through the books. They're not a heavy read, especially for adults, though I do think there is something to the characterization and the nostalgia. I feel like it's some sort of research tool. I also want to look into the author and talk more about the author's career in an upcoming video. Number 3, growth. There are certain books that are audiobooks I think will help for growth. I have the other channel, Hypersanity Audiobooks. One video I did, I talked about how beneficial reading can be to how it works with our brain. When reading books, yes, there are certain areas of the brain that get stimulated, though audiobooks will stimulate the same areas just in a different way. I think there can be a good balance between reading and audiobooks, or reading and adding a few booktube channels into your list. There are different podcasts that could be handy, sometimes a lecture, though it depends what type of quality of content that you're listening to. Number 4, reading an author that you've never read for the first time. I would have to choose Laura Ingalls Wilder. Now, this is the Little House on the Prairie. She wrote 9 books, and within the series, I'm actually quite inspired because I've got a couple facts here, but I would like to do a video about her career, and there are a few reasons for it. She was born in 1867 and died in 1957. She lived for 90 years. And within that time, she wrote her first book in 1935. Which means she published her first book when she was 68 years old. Now, there are some different facts. Little House of the Prairie, she put herself in the book, and it's within the TV series that came out as well, that she was the little girl. She wrote about real-life situations of her childhood growing up. So when you consider the timeline, and to when she had the book published, it is quite an interesting read. And even though it was a family TV show that came out and it might be considered a children's book, I don't know, there's just some more history I would like to explore with Little House on the Prairie. Number 5, self-care. What is a book that you come back to each year? Well, I will say honestly, the same book I come to every year is A Christmas Carol. I did a book review on this channel for the Muppets Christmas Carol. I also did one for the main channel being the Jim Carrey Christmas movie, and I also did the audiobook comparison, narrated by Patrick Stewart. which is unrelated to the movie that he starred in, A Christmas Carol. I prefer the audiobook because I do come back to the book each year, and it's just something to have that comfort to listening to his narration. I think he does an excellent job hearing his voice narrating the book. It is quite interesting. And within this type of premise of self-care, there are so many points within the videos and the different adaptations that I can't review them in one video. There is a lot of points that do, I find, compared to real-world situations through different personal challenges that we face. Number 6. Debut novel that you read last year. I will have to say, Saint graphic novel. I do enjoy the book. I have read it once before, though doing a reread recently. I enjoyed how it's a book for 15 years and over. I also found that it was, to my interpretation, it's like the Punisher meets Superman into the character design. He still had weaknesses and flaws, so he does get physically hurt, unlike Superman being invincible. There is a lot more of a balance into the characterization. I also found the illustrations were quite good, and there was a lot of work that goes into creating a graphic novel. It's amazing. He has written other graphic novels that follow on since then. Also, with J.R. Dunbar, who wrote the book, did some collaboration in communicating, and with those correspondences, he runs J.R. Comics, and he has collaborated with other authors on other projects. So I do think there is a lot of potential if you're looking at publishing graphic novels and having and owning your own copyrights. I am quite inspired by what he has done with his career moving forward. Number 7, specific goals. I will say for reading goals, I am looking at doing 50 books this year that are for young adult fiction or older. Then anything below that, I'm looking at doing another 50 books into anything below middle grade books. Though I am open to a lot of different suggestions and recommendations, and if there are other authors out there, yes, please leave a link in the description or comment so we can connect. I don't mind a bit of collaborating and connecting and looking at some other books and works of art. So that's the main goal for this year, that's reading related, is to read 50 books that are young adult fiction or higher, and 50 books that are middle grade or lower. Number 8, breaking walls. Setting new goals outside of the goals you already have set. This can also be non-book related. I find one of the big goals for this year is working through the rebranding of Dark Sparrow. Dark Sparrow is recommended for 15 years and over, and within the new book there will be some illustrations put through the book to help complement certain chapters. There will be different logo designs within the book. Consider that Dark Sparrow has her own tattoo on her arm. It's not in the book, though some illustrations will help support with that. Some of the illustrations will help support with size categories, which will help to explain when you hear colossal dragon, you know it's a really big dragon, the size of a blue whale. When it comes to hearing about something being diminutive, you know you're talking about a chihuahua. The idea of the book and size categories is to help with a faster pace of story when dealing with different creatures in the other world. Though I find there will be different complemented elements within doing the book this way with the rebranding of size categories. There will also be maps within the book that will help complement the story. Consider that in the main plot, yes, there are some certain locations in our world and locations in the other world, which all work in hand to specific spots, especially when we get to Act 3. However, I will also digress again, the book is recommended for people that are 15 years and over. Finally, Dark Sparrow 2 is still in progress. It is looking for at this stage, October 2026 launch, though I do think it will be a good sequel to the first book, and there will be a horror element within the story where it will test some boundaries, again, for 15 years and over. though there is a certain line that you don't cross with certain fiction. And I think this book will go well. The first Dark Sparrow book and the sequel will play hand in hand. Though, there is a lot of work and a lot of collaborating to do to complete these two projects. I am looking at some other book-related projects to work on. For now, that is another story. Again, I'll leave the two links to the two shoutouts I've done today within the end screen, and I will see you all next time.